Hey guys, this is Damien from Dame Tech, back with another video. In this video, I'll be comparing both the video and picture quality of both the OnePlus 9 Pro and the iPhone 12 Pro Max. I'll be testing the camera performance for both of these devices in low light and natural light settings. I want to also quickly note, for the video portion, I will use 4K video settings for both devices and test and compare ultra-wide, wide angle, and the telephoto lens. Last thing I want to say before jumping into this test is that this test is aimed more toward the average consumer, as both devices have pro features for pro photographers and videographers. Nevertheless, starting with a low light 4K video test, here I'm using the wide angle lens, and in this shot, the iPhone colors are a more accurate depiction of what I'm seeing in person. However, I do like the colors on the OnePlus, but if we look at the light exposure behind this Ford vehicle, the OnePlus does have slight overexposure, while the iPhone retains more true and better lighting. Moving on to the telephoto lens, here it's a matter of preference. The OnePlus is brighter with very minor overexposure and grain, while the iPhone has less grain and again, a more accurate depiction of what I'm seeing in person as I walk closer to this vehicle. However, the iPhone is darker and therefore has less detail. But if we move over to view this front door on this house, I think the iPhone captures a better and more realistic picture compared to the OnePlus 9 Pro. The OnePlus is overexposed and therefore loses detail. Now, if we switch to the ultra-wide lens, both are pretty bad in this low light setting, as both are extremely dark and therefore footage is unusable. But if I had to choose one out of the two, I'd go for the OnePlus since it is slightly brighter and way less grainy. Even in the better low light settings, the OnePlus still comes on top as it pertains to the ultra-wide lens. Here we can see the OnePlus retains more detail when we look at the grass. Plus, the OnePlus is brighter in comparison to the iPhone ultra-wide lens. The only positive feature in the iPhone footage is the light exposure. The OnePlus does have slightly overexposed lighting, as the glare is definitely noticeable. Moving on to low light photos, starting with the wide angle or main lens, for this first picture, as well as what you'll see in the next two photos, the OnePlus seems to capture a more accurate depiction and color accuracy regarding to what I'm seeing in person. This iPhone's photos have better light exposure, but with more contrast and sharpness. I'll let you decide which photos you prefer, as I believe both phone photography styles are a matter of preference at this point. As for the telephoto lens and low light conditions, for this first picture, the iPhone seems to capture more detail and better light exposure in comparison to the OnePlus. The OnePlus appears more saturated in color with less detail. Now moving on to the next two photos, like the wide angle lens, the OnePlus depicts a more accurate portrayal of what I'm seeing in person despite how dark the setting is in real life, while the iPhone photos seem brighter with more contrast, detail in certain areas, and sharpness. These two photos hold different styles and are more on a matter of preference. Now moving on to the ultra-wide photo lens and low light conditions, I think both are a tie. As you'll see, there are times the iPhone takes a better shot, but then there are other times the OnePlus 9 Pro takes the better shot. Let me know in the comments which low light ultra-wide photos you prefer. With that being said, now let's look and see how each camera performs under normal or well-lit settings with these 4K video settings. As you'll soon see, in all three cameras, the iPhone holds more real-life color accuracy while capturing more details. The dark sections in this video are more well-lit and properly exposed with the iPhone. The OnePlus 9 Pro has a slight bluish tint, definitely overexposed in some areas, but has more rich and vibrant colors and saturation. Again, I'm not here to say one is better than the other, as both smartphones have more pro options if you're unhappy with these default settings. Plus, some may prefer the more vibrant style versus the iPhone's more neutral and color accuracy approach. Let me know what style you prefer in the comments below. Now moving on to the last comparison, Here I'll be comparing how each phone processes photos in daylight. And again, like the video, OnePlus seems to carry the same vibrant, saturated, more exposed computational image processing it does in video. In this wide-angle, telephoto, ultra-wide, and portrait mode, I'm seeing the same image processing. While on the other hand, the iPhone captures more realistic color style and appears to have more details and proper shadowing. In conclusion, both cameras are quite phenomenal. As you've probably already noticed after watching this video, both cameras have their strengths and weaknesses. This video wasn't made to bash one product while praising the other, as both devices can do a lot more with their pro features for the photo and video enthusiast. This video was made more to inform the average consumer, such as myself, on what to expect when using the default settings of these cameras. After testing and comparing the camera lenses and results in various settings, I'm curious to read your thoughts and preference on what camera is best. Thank you so much for watching, and if you made it this far, you might as well hit that subscribe and notification button to see more content like this. Please stay safe and see you next time.